Hey, welcome to the Degeneration Podcast. I'm with Patrice.
Hey, how's it going, man? This is episode 309, Cali 9. Woo! We in Miami, ese.
We're live from Miami.
Miami. Hey, Mr. 309. Woo!
Snort laughter. We're not even a minute in. So I had some, fuck dreams.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I've been having some shit ones recently, too.
Yeah? I didn't sleep well the night before. I think I was up, talking about football picks and, telling, trying to get my cousin who's consulted me on trying to get things to do with the audience and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I owe him a little bit. He's in the listening ear. I'll be a listening ear.
Okay.
And I'm don't bet that.
Don't do
lose.
It. Don't.
Or just, don't bet that much on that one, or don't combine it with those other ones.
You're like the betting guru.
I'm the betting guru for him, anyways, and, don't bet me so much on the Bears.
Because you're going to lose.
Well, yeah, he wanted to bet me $50 on the Bears, and I was just
I'm going to take your money.
I'm going to take your money, but also, it's my own team, and I've learned some things. You don't go on passion as much. You go on, instinct and intellect and the realization that you're just guessing anyways.
Yeah.
So what do you do when you guess? You don't push too hard when you guess.
No, you're not going to put all your eggs in one basket.
In the Bears basket, right. But I won, but I cut his damage in half,
Yeah, so what, you took it from 50 to 25?
Yeah.
I mean, that's being considerate.
But, maybe, he just got me on the Bears passion. Even that I was going to do $10, but he got me to 25. But I just thought the Bears would win, and they did. I know it was a 3-point spread, as you know, because you lost to me.
I did. And, man, the Falcons, I don't know, they looked good week one, or they looked good enough to get the win.
They have a good offense. It was week 2 they did that with the Cowboys thing. But yeah, their coach was probably going to get fired at some point. They just collapsed, just like they did in the Super Bowl. But yeah, my sleep was off. I had 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Just because when I get spun up on things like that, prospecting, my mind is churning. And it's not quite as much as it used to be with the hypomanic stuff, but it was a little south of that. It wasn't just easily drifting off to sleep. I even jerked off.
Yeah, and it was try and help.
Yeah, and then I'm just okay, minus 3.5 points, buy the point. I'm oh, you should have told him to buy the point. And it's 5 a.m. I'm just And then so no bad dreams that night because you have something to look forward to. You're spun up about the football or whatever it is in the morning. Usually the football. Some has nothing to do with my own personal achievements, but so you don't have the time. Your brain doesn't have time for that negative mess
to drift to that
into
other
area that you need to create these horrorscapes.
Yeah.
And so last night I created them horrorscapes.
Yeah, it got back at you last night.
Yeah, it got back at me. I had a dream that I'm unfamiliar with the order of this dream, but I was acting trashy at some fucking classy wedding.
Ooh.
I wasn't aware that I was drunk. I think I was just aware that I was crazy, and I was taking people down with me, and other people were acting trashy, and we were just trashing this wedding, breaking the table while we're sitting at the table and kicking at each other with our legs.
Were you guys were you attracting attention?
Yeah.
And at what?
And at no point did anyone get kicked out of this wedding.
They're just God, it's table 5.
Right. Yeah, and it's just my fear of being ostracized at a wedding that I was invited to. Of being put at the table, all right, this table's going in the corner. That's what happened at the last wedding I went to. So a few weeks ago, and I was at a fucking corner.
So you've plucked that, in my opinion, it sounds like you plucked that from that real-life occurrence, and it got dropped into your dreamscape, and just taken to, an nth level of where, oh, God, this is what I envision the corner table to be shit.
Yeah, I mean, just crab kicking each other, you know what I mean? On the ground, just kicking at each other, just breaking trays and drooling and spilling things everywhere and cursing and.
But you were under You were under the assumption that you were drunk, or that you were drunk.
That I could have been drunk, but like also, now this is the kicker. I was driving somewhere. I was on a motorcycle, right? I would never ride a motorcycle. I don't like them.
They're scary.
Yeah. It's because everyone else. You got to worry about everyone else. Like I don't want to be hyper vigilant. I want to play with my Sirius radio things while I'm driving.
Yeah.
And like
you can't really do that one-handed on a motorcycle.
Exactly. Fuck that. It doesn't lend itself to my style of smooth driving, where I'm like I'm above average and that's fine with me.
Smooth sailing.
Smooth sailing. But when I got pulled over, they come out with a printout. I didn't have to wait. It was just like, these are the things you did wrong. We think you're crazy, and we're gonna take you to the mental hospital. You're erratic.
The driving that you exhibited was so bad. We think you are a level beyond drunk. We think you are mentally unstable.
Yeah. And so I had to go to a mental hospital in a strange place.
Yeah, do you even know where this wedding was? You knew you didn't know where it was.
So I think in my mind, waking up from it, I feel like it flashed back and forth between the two things.
Yeah.
So it's like it was a destination wedding, definitely, and so I feel like the dream with me going to the institution possibly happened before or like interspersed with the wedding dream. Okay. Because I wasn't near somewhere I felt comfortable with. Like when I went to the outpatient hospital, I was like 30 minutes away, and it wasn't a stay over thing.
Yeah.
And when you went to rehab,
it was within like 30 minutes.
So you'd be like, if at any point you were just like, you know what, this kumbaya shit or whatever isn't working. Yeah. Like, but I don't really want to fucking like damage myself or do drugs and stuff. But I'm going home, man.
Yeah.
Like, and even then, in that situation, like for both of us, I feel like neither of us really felt like we could really go home or leave the situation.
I agree.
Like, we're in the hospital, man.
It's like you've already walked through that door.
Yeah.
And the effort and like the intangibles that come with turning around and trying to walk back through that door, that's a lot. That's like me, that was like a decision that I don't think I could muster up getting to the point to make that decision. Like it like just, going back.
If you paused and then went back. I'm not going back.
Yeah.
And then you want to get to the point where you're like, did I get enough out of that, or was it just something I tried? I don't need it, or it didn't work for me, but I respect it. I'm glad I did it, and I think like that was me with the hospital. It was like I didn't necessarily need it because I don't think it did a ton for me. But on some level, it helped me not drink. But it was just the rhetoric they were pushing in there about alcohol, and on its own head, instead of just with medicine, just pound the don't do it with medicine. And you obviously need medicine, or for now need medicine because you're in here.
Yeah.
Right. So don't combine it. But it was like, oh, you had a problem. I was like, what? Does it make a fucking difference? Like I'm in the fucking hospital.
I'm here, right? So treat me in the best way possible. Don't try and take me down this path with the narrative that you're telling me and try to convince me of this one individual path.
Yeah,
right?
It was like all that makes me think is that this shit is my fault.
Yeah,
you know?
Which in your case, I don't think it was at all.
I mean, I did more beating up on my brain because of putting substances and behaviors in it, like alcohol, gambling, sex, anything that alters your state. I contributed greatly.
But it wasn't purposeful, right? Like you didn't want to get yourself to the point. Right? I don't think it's ever. I don't think it's ever anyone's fault. That's how I felt when I got to rehab. It was such a, and I guess the circumstances or the criteria for prescribing people antipsychotic meds, or mood stabilizing meds, the threshold's not that high. It's a pretty low threshold.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, and I where I'm going with it, but like, I got put on the one I got put on a sleeping med. That was the only thing and I think that's a very common occurrence. Is if you're coming off of drugs or alcohol, you're gonna have really fucking hard time sleeping. If not no sleep at all. Yeah. So they put me on something to help with that, but I got prescribed a mood stabilizer, which used to be called an antipsychotic, for bipolar disorder. And to my knowledge, I'm not bipolar, and there wasn't any testing to see if I was bipolar. They were just going off of it was just off of my.
Well, that's fucked. You drop something with a stigma on somebody, and even if it's not as much of a stigma as it used to be, it's a self-stigma.
Absolutely, it absolutely is a self-stigma.
And you drop that on somebody without proof, and first off, there is no proof. Proving that someone has bipolar disorder is challenging.
It is.
So sure. Proving it immediately without you observing their behavior, or even
nearly impossible.
A more than one appointment narrative of that behavior.
Yeah.
And that's even someone taking the negative aspects of their thing and admitting it to I did this and this, but you didn't do it every time.
No.
You weren't always like this.
You have to be able to look at the data, the results from someone over a period of time.
Did I tell you I got diagnosed in 30 minutes?
Really?
The first time I saw a psychiatrist.
Jesus.
Fucked. It's so fucked. So the first two, the second psychiatrist I had, I'd say, I'm not counting the one that you saw, twice in the fucking hospital that pumps you full of Seroquel.
No,
I'm not counting that one.
That's just
a guy in the hospital.
Yeah, and they, needed someone for that specific job. It's the same thing with where I was.
Yeah.
They're a doctor, but the type of doctor they are is so niche that they're someone could be so overqualified, and they're all right, all you need to do, you interview people as they come in, you see them in their most fucked up state, and then you're going to prescribe them shit.
That they're going to be taking for months or years.
Yeah, and that's all we need you for.
Yeah. I mean, how accurate would you try to be if that was your thing? Because wouldn't you just burn out so quickly?
Yeah, I would. Cause
you're these people, I don't give a fuck.
I mean,
they're a classic case. Are they, though? Do you know them?
No.
Should we only have one doctor seeing people for 10 minutes?
No.
And giving them fucking Seroquel?
And I mean, maybe to an extent there were some limitations with COVID, so it was all virtual, which that didn't help the experience.
Oh, yeah.
And it just doesn't put a warm feeling in my belly. And people within the AA and recovering community, they would shoot down this opinion in a heartbeat. But where I went for rehab, it's a fucking for-profit business.
Yeah.
That is what they're there for. So, I mean, I would think the majority of people that get into that type of business are not there out of the goodness of their heart.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you either are proof that it can really fucking work and really effectively, or proof that you can do it without it and you just happen to be there, Yeah. Or one or the other, because you went and you've quit and you've done it effectively, and you have that, from my understanding, the urges and stuff or realizations about alcohol or drugs come in your dreams more
Correct.
than in your waking hours. Maybe a little bit here and there, but that's impressive, right? Because it's all pushed down into your psyche and not into your behavioral milieu.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
And I think it is too.
But I feel like you're not in a situation where you can only credit your sobriety to some other program.
To one individual thing. It's It's I could have never done this on my own. It's and I don't know if I would say that. I don't think I would say, I could have done this on my own. It's maybe it wasn't that program specifically, but I'm not going to say that didn't help, because I think it surely did. I think there's something about being away from, detaching yourself from an environment and putting yourself around like-minded people is going to help accelerate that healing process and accelerate...
And knowledge process.
Exactly.
And, people compare it. We naturally compare ourselves to other people.
Constantly.
And if you're on we'll say, the lower end of direness of your situation with alcohol or drugs, as far as your actual behaviors to acquire them or what you're giving up.
Yeah.
Because
I was always on. I always felt like I was on the lower.
You were on the You were on the lower
to middle.
Lower to middle of like sheer direness. I mean, you didn't have problems away from home at school just because alcohol existed, and it's a school that's like in a lot of ways like Michigan State. Like there's a lot of people, and it's party school, and there's like you're young, and there's like attractive. It's a good school. They're both good schools, but like attractive people putting things in their bodies.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and
like
you want to be a young, attractive person putting
stuff in their bodies. Yeah,
yeah, and you know, if you have a underlying mental health condition, regardless of the level of severity of it, when you're not doing those things, you're gonna have like a dip in your mood, and you're probably gonna be like, I bet it's because I'm not having fun right now. And maybe the problem is because you were having fun those times, you're not settling into like the banality of life.
Yeah, no.
Even at a college where you're learning things, it's still like there's moments you're like, ugh, it sucks.
Yeah, right. It's like you stop for a second, and it's not like you're stop and smell the roses. It's like stop
and smell the poop.
Yeah, right. Stop and let reality's multiple folds cascade into your fucking being. Right?
Yeah, like, the multiple genital folds. The panis of reality.
I think you put that really well.
Thanks, man.
I think that's... And that could probably... And I don't think everyone's like that, right? Like, if there's certain people that go into that setting with the already known benign reality of life, and they're like, oh, look, there's these other fun things that I can do along the way that'll make it not so shitty.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, is a total fucking invert of that. It's, this is all fun. Oh, fuck. This real shit over here isn't.
I'm avoiding it.
I'm going to avoid that and keep doing this fun shit as long as I can. I'm going to ride this until it fucking dies. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is that you can do that for a long fucking time, and you stopped. It can get worse, or you can get at the same level, and it's just like not worse as far as like the behaviors go, but like it's becomes sadder when you get older.
It's
and single. If you're older and single, and you're just pumping it out, like you're like, and then people stop even questioning your behaviors,
and they just like accept you for what you are.
Oh, he's a drunk, or like, oh, he's just fun, but he's like takes it a little further.
And he doesn't know how to like stop having quote unquote fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the truth is we've never examined him deeply, show that he has character and depth, and we never don't see him on that level.
It's because, and the reason we don't see him on that level is because he never gives people the opportunity to see him on that level.
And or can't accept that not everyone is like a person that sees people deeply or wants to see people deeply. And that alone maybe makes him drink.
Dude, there's a lot of... and that's... These types of questions are pondering of reasons for behaviors isn't explored in rehab at all. This type of thinking about it is like chastised. You're not supposed to think about it. You're just supposed to accept. You're supposed to accept that the behavior happened, and you're supposed to accept that you had a problem, and you're supposed to accept this strategy that is said to have worked for so many people, accept it on a plate in front of you, and you can't think about that.
Well, that's fucked up. Is it like that with both the rehab you went to and the AA type of
rehab was a little different. AA is very much like that.
Yeah.
It's very... And hive mind's not the right word, but it's hive mind-esque in the sense that you're not unique. You made all the same bad mistakes we did. The reasons and the thinking behind them doesn't matter. You still made the mistakes. We're looking at the product, not the build-up to it. So if we all look at the product and we all identify as having the same issue, we can all go about this process in the same way, and it'll work the same for everyone. And it's like...
No, it won't.
No, I don't think it will, and I think there's something to be said for the thinking and the issues going on beforehand. Alcohol could have had a much bigger influence on your life, or there could have even been reasons for you to do the things you did. Undiagnosed mental defects or whatever it may be.
Some type of disorder where your shit's not in your average run of the mill working order.
Yeah, and I think people, and it may work for some of them, or there might be a healing process in a part of if you do the program the way it's supposed to be done, you can kind of absolve or like heal over if you do have some mental faculties that aren't great.
I mean, but yeah, what happens with those people that buy into just one way to fix themselves, or heal, I should say. Now, you don't really necessarily fix ourselves.
No, that would be rhetoric that would be shot down very quickly, Andy.
In AA?
In AA. There's a lot of shit you're not supposed to say in AA.
We heal from our misdeeds to ourselves and others, right?
Yeah.
But what was I saying before that? God damn it.
I'm sorry.
No, you didn't get me off track. I'll just change course.
I know, it's my eyes.
If you look at them,
eyes. If you look at them too long,
they don't look like they had despair in them at any point.
No, and when you look at them, you start to think, those are blue eyes, and then you look at the hair, you're like, man, he's blonde, and then you're like, man, when's the Fourth Reich coming?
I don't know. I don't think you're in shape for it.
Currently, I am not.
They're like, what is your position? And like,
the goalkeeper. This is the goalkeeper.
It is the keeper of the what?
The keeper of the goals.
Yes, it was the goals.
The goals of the third and the fourth Reich. They will be full possession by our team.
Did you come close to dating in rehab?
No, because they're just the choices and the options I had were so not what I wanted to settle for. If there had been something like turned up the notch meter on like attractiveness or like not fucked up, if we had taken the meter that had gone from almost all the way to the left in terms of like a conglomerate of like fucked up, unattractive, like all these things, if you had turned it up a little bit to look like maybe there's like an improvement, I would have maybe considered it.
So would you say that we'll separate the women and the men. So we'll talk about the women first. Would you say then that the sad girl is more appealing than the train wreck girl? And sometimes they're both.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're both.
There's sometimes, but typically
I was a sad train wreck. Boy.
No, typically the train wrecks, they're not sad. They're loud and proud. They're like and they will deny to their fucking grave. They're like, I can still get my shit together. You don't fucking know me. And it's like she has 50 tats and wears fucking zebra yoga pants and is smoking 5 packs of Reds a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not very sad. I mean, she probably is, but that's not her persona.
Her denial is sad, but
her denial is sad, but
I'm not gonna like try to wrap your car around a tree. Takes a lot of Xanax. Sad.
Yeah, the one.
I went out to a McDonald's with a young girl young woman or whatever that did that. I think that's what she said.
Yeah, young woman might be the better descriptor there.
Well, she was like 20 or something. I was younger than I am now.
Was
but
she?
It wasn't a date. It wasn't a mental hospital date. It was just like, let's get fucking out of here for like 20 minutes and just go to McDonald's and be people.
Was she a creamer?
A creamer. Oh, tell that story, please.
Yes.
And then I'll get back to the train wreck.
I just thought of it. So Andy and I went to. We are friends outside of the podcast.
Yeah.
Which for most people that do podcasts, they probably don't interact a lot outside of podcasts.
Okay, well that was
great.
Fine.
Great business there, Scotty.
See you in 3 weeks for the next episode.
So we went to Silver Diner, got some late night shakes. They were delish.
Yes.
And I'm a caffeine guy, addictive personality. So we got there around 11:30.
Suited up for some caffeine at 11:30.
I decided I wanted a cup of coffee.
Yes.
And waitress, probably we debated on her ethnicity. I was going with more Iranian or Macedonian, maybe, or
Iranian. No, I went out with a woman from Macedonia. They don't look like that. No, they're very white skinned or a little bit tan.
She was like stayed in a tanning bed a couple hours too long kind of shade.
That implies that is not a preferred shade, Patrice.
I'm just too long, like longer than it says on the manufacturer.
Not like a Snooki shade.
No,
like
it was a darker shade.
She was from the area of India and Pakistan, and I don't know the other countries around
Bangladesh.
Yeah, it could be one of those.
Yeah,
one of those. Was Sri Lanka around there?
Sri Lanka, yeah.
Okay.
I think is Sri Lanka not in India?
No, it's a country.
Could have fooled me.
That's Shangri-La, and that's not Shangri-La. In India either.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that like in Nepal?
I think so. So Nepal, that's the other one. That Nepal. We'll pull up a map later. Not right now. I don't fucking feel like it.
No, fuck that shit.
I don't care where she's from. I don't care about her.
No. I was just trying to give some background for the readers. Just a really vivid image.
3 minutes of ethnic background on our waitress,
and they're like, "Oh boy, I wonder what happens next."
Yeah.
So I order a cup of coffee and she brings it, and for the record, that. I'm typically all about diner coffee because it's usually pretty hot. And it's got like a good taste to it. This was some lukewarm, had been made 5 hours ago type shit. It was not good.
It was AA coffee.
Yeah, it was.
Fourth cup at the thing where they're like, these fucking AA people with they come in 9 deep and they order 1 cup of coffee each, no scones.
Yeah, come on. You gotta get some.
And they get a refill. They get the small into the refill, and they're screaming about their feelings.
Yeah, fucking.
And they're like, it's not about how you feel. It's about the process.
It's about the process. The process is what's going to make a change.
Yeah. So what did I say to this motherfucker?
So she gives us her coffee, leaves for a second. She comes back and she goes, "Oh, would you like any cream and sugar?" And I go, "Yeah."
What voice is that? She didn't have an accent.
She goes, "Would you like?
Would you talk like that?
Would you like cream and sugar?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. I think that'd be nice." And Andy decides to go, "Yeah, he's a big creamer." And she's walking away, and she kind of turns and gives like a "oh ha," and then I imagine within like the next 5 seconds she replays the joke in her head because it's the last stimuli she heard, and he's a big creamer. That was really fucking weird.
Yeah, that was disturbing. God, I hope they tipped.
And we did. We tipped her about 20%,
24%, something like that.
Yeah, I think a good follow-up question.
Yeah.
For her, after you made that statement of he's a big creamer, is how old are you? I think is an appropriate question.
Well, it was just like, hey, I mean, just like he likes the cream.
He likes the cream. Sorry,
big fan of the cream, and then not thinking like it's like it came out before I realized, like fully intellectually, that cream is, even if it just not pronounced, but like addressed as just cream, it's still weird.
It's weird.
It's like, just weird to talk to her in any form.
It's like, can I get some more cream? You mean half and half? Sure.
Yeah, he's a half-a.
He's a half and half.
That would have been
funny. He's a half-a.
He's a half-a.
He's a half-a. And she'd be like, okay. I would rather send some weird sexual innuendo about him creaming a lot.
Yeah, he's a big creamer.
He's a cream.
It's just, I didn't mean it to come out as innuendo. I would say if I did.
Well, of course. I mean, I
would do it.
That would be
It's not something I wouldn't have said. It's just something I didn't intend to mean that time.
Correct.
Right? I'm not like trying to acquit myself of being a freaky creep. I am.
It was funny.
It was really funny because it was like
we had a moment of realization. I went, "Did you really just say that?" And you're like, "Oh fuck, I didn't mean to say it that way." And I was like, "That's great." That was funny, man. I gotta put that on the list. And Andy made a point of saying, "Man, you gotta talk about that shit on the podcast." Like when I say something stupid, it's like I have a very vivid catalog of all the moments you say something stupid or don't mean to say something.
That's good. You should, because I mean, you got to be able to zing back when I zing. You know.
Well,
even if it's not right then, if it's like I'll get him later.
I'll get him later. Like it's like my piss will get me later in the night.
Yeah, exactly. When my friend sent me a picture of his poop one year, this was like 2005. So I mean, like, open my flip phone text and I'm like, bloop, 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 and it's a poop, and I was like,
you got me.
I wasn't upset. I was like, ooh, you bastard, you know. I was like, oh, you got me,
you son of a bitch.
I got him back, like, honestly, like 10 years later, when he wouldn't be expecting, could have been opening up at work, is a father of 2 children. And has a wife and stuff, and a
maybe at that point
you
would think he'd be a little more acquainted to poop.
Well, yeah, that's true, but it's also like you still associate with people that can spring this on you at any moment. I wanted it to be like oh no,
you're like, oh my god,
you know?
It's like, I forgot about that. I thought I'd won.
Yeah, and it just said revenge. Vengeance is mine.
What did he say, man?
He just laughed. It's like, that was nicely played. I was like, the long game.
Speaking of poop, there's going to be a long game coming out of me, so we're going to take a quick little break.
Break-a-rooney. Breaking out for poop, and he's breaking out the poop particles in his butt, and they're going to fly into the toilet. Plop, plop, plop. He's alright. He's alright. That boy just pooped. Yeah. We're back.
If you know what song that is, please shoot us an email at degeneration@gmail.com.
And if you're voting in our mayoral election, Roland Taylor for
mayor. We're rolling with Roland.
One of the options.
Yes, he is. He is.
I don't know how to know who the other ones are.
And yeah, in my opinion, he's the only option.
Because he's for common sense results, not divisive rhetoric.
And you know what the worst problem is? Divisive rhetoric.
Speaking of divisive rhetoric, we got the debate tomorrow.
Oh, that's right, we do.
Yeah, you gonna watch that shit?
For the purpose of this podcast, yes.
Get your popcorn ready.
Get your popcorn. I remember the first presidential debate between our
president,
the leader of this sovereign country,
yes,
versus the giant douchebag, formerly known as Hillary Clinton. I was lighting up. I was smoking some joints in college, and I thought it was the most hysterical thing. I was watching Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump debate.
It was pretty good.
It was pretty surreal.
Great TV. This is gonna be like above average TV.
It's gonna be hysterical. I really want Biden to slip up. I mean, actually, I'd be funny if he had like a mini stroke.
I want. You know where I was going. I like it is his clear condition of senility or whatever.
I think that's the way to put it.
Is not funny-ish, but it's also, I don't feel remotely sorry for him because he's choosing to do this to himself, his family, and this country, to be the only alternative to a deeply. Can you call him personally divisive, or were we already divided by previous things?
I think we were already divided. I think
polarizing. He's not dividing as much as he is polarizing, which kind of means the same thing, but he exacerbated the issue.
Well, and I think Sleepy Joe, you're right. I think he is putting on this facade.
I have no sympathy for his condition.
I don't. He's putting on this facade or making himself out to look like he's really strong and working through it for the American people. It's like if you had a wounded soldier who had taken an arrow to the leg, to the shoulder,
to the brain,
and to the hip.
Clearly the brain,
and one had skidded his brain, and he like looks up, he's like, "Oh mate, I'm fine." And then he turns his head, and you can see part of his fucking hippocampus.
Like fucking Breaking Bad, the face-off thing.
And so it's him, wounded as hell, and then next to him, you've got this fat fucking piece of shit in armor, and he's like, "Oh mate, I'm ready to take on this last defender." And it's like, okay, well, I don't really want either of you to fight for me, and then it goes back to Sleepy Joe, who's like, "Ah, mate, fuck, where are we?
What What campaign is this?
What are we doing here, mate?
Are we taking back the Dardannes?
Did you say this? Oh, yeah. This is a crusade. I'm headed for the Crusaders.
The Ardennes or whatever.
The Ardennes.
Yeah.
I'll fight for you. I'm for the people.
Which people?
What are we doing? Who are you? My name's Joe.
My name's Joe. I'm really tired right now.
Mate, are you sure you're good? I can see.
They give him an enema of fucking methamphetamines, and he's like, "Whoa!"
He's like, "Whoa! Fuck!
Again, where are we?
Where are we?" But I am feeling great.
I'm ready to rock whoever this is, whatever island we're on.
We're gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna win, and I'm gonna be the leader for
Jesus.
For Jesus.
Question mark? Focus group?
For you.
Is that focus group?
What the fuck is my name?
Yeah.
And then you go back to Trump. He's like, this army is the best army there's ever been, and this guy looks like he's about to die, but
you've seen my medical records, but not my taxes,
but not my anything about my history, and I'm just the best for the job. And he's like, hey, this bloke over here is kind of convincing. And he didn't take an arrow to the side of the head. Go back to Joe. Mike, you say I took an arrow? Are you sure?
I really don't feel it. What is this?
What is
this? Is
that why I'm bleeding? Be like, yeah, mate, it's because you took an arrow to the side of the head. What's an arrow? And that's it. And then that's all. That's
I want to see a Trump-Biden cage match to the death.
I would too. I think Biden would forget where he was after like one punch, or maybe hear me out. Maybe if Trump got a really good like uppercut or side hook, Biden's brain would just rattle and he would just be sharp as fucking nails.
Fixes dementia.
It's
dementia. Like what smelling salts like used to do in the 80s to quarterbacks.
Yeah, just like a very like.
Oh, Vinny Testaverde took a shot there.
Oh, he did, but look, he's still moving. How is he moving?
Oh, we're gonna put Vinny Testaverde in the tags, are we?
Oh my god! And Joe Biden's just like, all right, this is enough.
Yeah,
I've had enough. Yeah. I'm not sleepy anymore. God, I was for the longest time, but I'm not anymore.
He's like the king in fucking Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, the one that.
Yeah, did I say that before?
I think you did
it for somebody.
But you did. I think it was for us. It was under Sauron. He was
Saruman's spell.
He was under Saruman's spell.
Yeah,
but I can't remember his name. He was the king of Rohan.
Rohan, the glassy eye guy.
The glassy eye dude looked like he was fucking zooted.
He jumps off a fucking.
No, he doesn't. Right? He dies in battle. So actually,
the king dies in battle.
He may not actually. I don't know. He might survive.
Fucking jumped off the thing.
Oh, that's the king of Gondor.
Oh, Gondor.
Who jumps off the highest peak of the highest.
Why is that kingdom? Why is that not addressed? There's a suicide in Lord of the Rings.
I don't know. He was probably suffering from some severe depression and was deranged, maybe a little senile. Yeah. Because he was about to burn his son to death. He was dousing him in oil. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to oil you up, Boromir. Yeah, you like that shit? Fuck yeah. Yeah, I'm going to light you on fire, motherfucker. Yeah. And then when he realized his son was alive, the only thing he wanted to do was put holy oil on himself and then light himself on fire and then jump off of He
lit himself on fire?
Okay, well, someone else lit up. Technically, Gandalf's horse, Shadowfax, kicked him into the fire and he caught on fire and then he ran like a deranged crazy man off.
It wasn't a suicide. I mean, it kind of was.
It kind of was. Well, in an attempt to put himself out, he tried to die and he succeeded.
Was he like the falling man in 9/11?
Yes.
Are there parallels?
I could see it. It would have helped if it was a little bit of a longer fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
It wasn't as long.
No, it was a little shorter. How tall were the Twin Towers?
Shit, not very tall now.
I mean, it's like They're like 0 feet now.
0 feet tall. Suck. That was a weird day.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
You wearing down?
No, just maybe a little.
All right, bye.